Have you ever had one of those quiet afternoons where the hours just seem to drift by? Maybe the TV is on in the background, the paper's half read on the table, and there's a cup of tea gone cold beside you. You glance at the clock and wonder, where did the day go? It's not that anything's wrong, it's just that something feels missing. A spark, a sense of purpose. Joy. As we get older, our daily routines tend to shrink. Kids are grown, careers are behind us, and for many, the once busy calendar is suddenly wide open. At first that might feel freeing, but over time it can quietly turn into a feeling of restlessness. The good news? That spark you're missing isn't gone. It's just waiting to be reignited. And one of the best ways to do that is through something beautifully simple: hobbies. Now, I'm not talking about filling your days with random distractions. I'm talking about rediscovering things that light you up inside. Activities that bring joy, meaning, maybe even a little excitement. Hobbies aren't just for passing time. They're a doorway back into yourself. They're how we stay curious, engaged, even playful. So let's talk about it. 7 hobby ideas that can help you reconnect with joy and bring fresh purpose to your days. These aren't just suggestions, they're invitations to come alive again. Let's start with something timeless: gardening. There's something incredibly grounding about putting your hands in the dirt, feeling the sun on your back, and watching life grow under your care. You don't need a big yard or fancy equipment. A few pots on the balcony, a raised bed in the backyard, or even an indoor herb garden can do the trick. Plants don't rush you. They move with you, grow with you. Every sprout is a little victory, every bloom a quiet reward. It's peaceful, it's physical, and most of all, it's deeply satisfying. Plus, studies show that time spent gardening can lower stress and even improve mood. Now, maybe plants aren't your thing, or perhaps you're craving something more expressive. That's where painting, drawing, or any kind of art can open new doors. You don't have to be Picasso. In fact, it's better if you're not trying to be. Art is about expression, not perfection. Whether it's watercolors, sketching, or even adult coloring books, these activities allow your mind to wander in the best way. And you'd be surprised how good it feels to finish something creative, even if it's just a small piece. It's not about what others think, it's about how it makes you feel. And then there's music. Maybe it's picking up an old guitar, joining a community choir, or just learning to play a few songs on a keyboard. Music has a way of waking us up from the inside out. It brings back memories, emotions, and sometimes even the parts of ourselves we forgot. And if playing isn't your thing, just listening with intention, really listening, can be a hobby too. Sit back with a playlist of songs you haven't heard in years. Let the music take you somewhere. You'll be surprised where it goes. Sometimes joy shows up in the simplest things, like a warm loaf of bread rising in the oven, or the sound of a pen gliding across a page. You don't need grand adventures to feel alive. Sometimes, all it takes is the right kind of focus, something to make the hours feel full instead of empty. And one beautiful way to fill that space is through cooking or baking. Not as a chore, but as a creative experience. If you've spent a lifetime preparing meals for others, now's the perfect time to rediscover cooking just for the joy of it. Try a new recipe you've never made before. Experiment with flavors or explore a cuisine you've always been curious about. And if the kitchen feels a little lonely these days, invite a neighbor, a grandchild, or even a friend from church to join you. Cooking can be a way to connect, to share, and to nourish, not just the body, but the soul. And speaking of nourishing the soul, let's talk about writing. You don't have to be an author to put words on paper. Writing can be journaling, letter writing, storytelling, or even jotting down your thoughts at the end of the day. You've lived through decades of rich experiences. Why not write some of them down? Not just for others to read, but for yourself. It's amazing what comes up when you let the pen do the talking. Memories, insights, even bits of wisdom you didn't know you had. Writing helps you see your life more clearly, and often with more gratitude. Of course, not every hobby has to be done alone. In fact, one of the best ways to rediscover joy is by joining a group that shares your interest. Whether it's a local walking club, A knitting circle or a book discussion group, being around others who are engaged and curious, can bring fresh energy into your life. You don't have to be the most talkative person in the room. Just showing up is enough to feel the power of connection. Take a moment to imagine walking into a room where people smile when you arrive, where your presence is noticed and valued. That's what happens when you surround yourself with others who are doing things they love. The activity becomes secondary. The real treasure is the sense of belonging. And maybe that's the key to all of this. Hobbies aren't just about passing the time. They're about feeling like you matter, like your day had a shape, a purpose, a spark of life. There's something powerful about waking up in the morning and thinking, today I get to work on my little garden, or I'm looking forward to finishing that chapter, or even just, I can't wait to try that new recipe I found. These small joys stack up. They remind you that there's still beauty to create, still stories to tell, still new things to learn. There's something incredibly refreshing about discovering that you can still surprise yourself. That even after all these years, there are new things to explore, new skills to develop, and new parts of yourself to meet. And one way to do that is through learning. Yes, learning, because curiosity doesn't retire when we do. Have you ever thought about taking up a new language? Maybe you've always loved the sound of Italian, or wanted to understand what your favorite opera is actually saying. Or maybe you just want to keep your brain sharp and your memory active. Learning a language, even just the basics, is a workout for the mind and a delight for the spirit. With all the free apps and online classes out there, you can start slow, go at your own pace, and enjoy the journey without any pressure. And if languages aren't quite your thing, there's still a whole world of knowledge to explore. Local libraries and community centers often offer free classes. Everything from history to photography, computers to poetry. Many colleges even have programs designed just for seniors. Imagine walking into a classroom again, not with the stress of tests and grades, but simply for the joy of learning something new. That kind of growth keeps you feeling alive, connected, and confident. But let's not forget another kind of hobby, one that's deeply fulfilling and often overlooked: volunteering. It's amazing how much joy we can rediscover when we shift the focus from ourselves to others. Whether it's reading to children at a local school, comforting pets at an animal shelter, helping organize food drives, or mentoring someone younger, you have so much to give. Your life experience, your patience, your kindness, it all matters. Volunteering gives your time real purpose, and the connection it creates can be life-changing for them and for you. When we feel useful, we feel alive. We wake up with something to look forward to. We feel part of something bigger than ourselves, and often the people we help end up helping us in return in ways we never expected. Now maybe your heart is pulling you towards something different. Maybe you've always dreamed of traveling more. While not everyone wants to hop on a plane or cross oceans, even small local adventures can become a hobby. Exploring new towns, visiting museums, trying out a different cafe every week. There's something magical about seeing the world through fresh eyes. You don't need a passport to be curious. You just need a sense of wonder. Whatever calls to you, whether it's art, music, writing, volunteering, or exploring, it's not too late. It never is. Your hobbies don't have to be impressive or productive or even particularly good. They just need to bring you joy. Because that joy, it's not a luxury. It's essential. This stage of life isn't about winding down. It's about tuning in to the things that bring you peace, laughter, curiosity, and meaning. You've spent a lifetime taking care of others, meeting responsibilities, doing what needed to be done. Now you get to ask yourself a different question. What do I want to do just because it makes me happy? And that question, that's where rediscovery begins. So try something. Anything. Let yourself be a beginner again. Let yourself play, explore, connect. Remember, small sparks can light up a whole room.